Good morning. I'm back. I'm giggling a little bit because it was here Friday and I'm here today, and then I'm the guest for Kaylin tomorrow for the YMCA. So I'm like, if you know hockey, that's a hat trick. Or if you know bowling, it's a turkey. Whichever way you want to look at it. I was very excited. So this is Stacie, obviously, Northwest Senior and Disability Services, and I'm very, very excited to have Cami Aufdermauer, who is the Executive Director with Habitat for Humanity, with me today. So good morning, Cami.
Good morning. I feel like I've been waiting forever to be able to sit down with you and do this.
We have had this has been on the calendar for a little while, and it's a very exciting time because Habitat. Now, how long have you been in your new position?
I started in January.
Oh, okay.
2016. So however many months that is.
It feels like so much longer.
Does it?
Yeah. You've done a lot of great work since you've been out there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So let's get started. There's a lot of new projects going on.
Yes.
And I think that the face of Habitat is changing.
It is. I think we're really headed in the right direction, and we have a lot of amazing people. Our board of directors has changed a lot since I started in January, and we just have some awesome people who have really come on board and want to get involved with what we're doing. And I see partnerships really developing throughout the community, and we get to talk a little bit about that. But it's exciting to watch our community come together for a purpose that's so much greater than us.
And you're boots on the ground, out there pounding the pavement and developing relationships with a lot of community partners. I mean, how long has Habitat been here, first of all?
Yeah, so it started in 1996, kind of under the umbrella of Habitat, but wasn't actually incorporated until 1998 when they became an affiliate of Habitat for Humanity. So we're going to be coming up on, what is that, almost 20 years.
Wow.
I know. So we'll have to have a celebration. I
know. Great. And tell me about just the mission.
Yeah. Yeah. So our mission, it is beautiful. It's affordable housing. It's we believe that everyone deserves a decent place to live, every single person.
Sure.
And so that is our mission. And it's to put God's love into action through serving people, through building homes and supporting them. I believe personally that we need to support people, not just in the housing, but really look at it from a holistic perspective of, do they have other needs that we can hook them up with community partners that are doing things like that. And so I just think that we are an avenue for people to get plugged in to really serve a need, where housing is a huge need in our community.
It is. I was going to go there. It's a really big topic that I hear in a lot of different circles. So you can really have an impact on that. Yeah.
I'm a part of the Housing Task Force, which is it's just been a really impactful group for me to sit around the table with some very intelligent people. And you get to hear about the problems, but really the task force is focused around what are the solutions? What are the things that we can do right now in the immediate to kind of be able to serve people that need housing? And this is from all demographics, all different income levels. I mean, there is just a housing crisis in general, not just Tillamook, but I mean, we're here, so that's what we're focused on. And Habitat wants to be a part of the solution.
Mm-hmm. And I think that for those of you that aren't familiar with that task force, it was started by Bill Bartline, County Commissioner. And you're right, it has a really good group of people that are volunteering their time, just as you are, to sit around the table and kind of start to really tackle this. And there's a community needs assessment happening right now.
Yes.
Isn't that correct?
Yes. So really just getting down to the nitty gritty of what it is. Like, we have these perceived things that we think are the problem, but really, what is a problem? What are some solutions? What are some things that we can do? And each person's going to have their own little niche in those. Right. And I believe that Habitat definitely is going to be a part of that, and what role we're still kind of figuring out. We have always historically done what we've done. We've built about a home a year, which is wonderful, and we serve families, and all of that's really exciting. I also see us stepping out of the box in different areas and being able to, really be able to maximize how we're serving families, the number of families we're serving. It's not about how many houses we build. It's about how many people that we can really make an impact in their lives.
Right. Well, I just keep waiting for somebody to say, hey, have you heard about the new tiny house community? Because that's kind of the new thing, which I giggle about, because the tiny houses, they're so cute. Yes. I have a friend that actually, she and her husband built one, and they live out in Portland, and it's just phenomenal. But I'm like, or you could just buy a camper, right? It's the same idea.
Yeah. Except for not as cute.
They're not as cute.
They're not as cute.
You're right.
And really not as they're not going to be
kidding.
sustainable.
Oh yeah,
there's that.
See, this is why you do what you do and I don't.
But really, they're just not as cute.
That's what it's all about, is how cozy it is.
Yeah.
And the fact that like the bathrooms have the shower and the toilet and everything is like, it's very efficient.
Yeah,
the
for
space
sure.
is amazing. Anyway,
Oh.
I digress.
No, it's funny you say that because I don't know if you know or have interviewed Trask River High School is currently building a tiny home.
Oh, really?
And Jim Cox is the construction teacher out there, and he's on our board. So
Oh,
I was
perfect.
able to go out there last week and see that tiny home, and it's got everything's ready to go. They're going to be working on the inside pretty soon, but it's framed, it's put together. It is gorgeous.
Really?
And so now this has been something that's really been on my heart since I started. Like, yeah, tiny homes aren't the solution, but it could be a solution for a certain population of people.
Sure.
And so I want to look into that, and I want to see how we can really get people excited about. That's what I'm saying. Think outside the box. Yeah, it's not the solution, but it could be something that could solve some problems for certain people.
And I believe that, one of the root cause issues in the housing thing here is here in Tillamook County is just the fact that so many people own second homes, vacation rentals, people that don't have Tillamook home necessarily, but come down here. And so all those VRBO, which is vacation rental by owners, and all those things have had a big impact. But anyway, so Habitat has multiple projects going
We
on, right?
do.
So I'm
Yes.
dying to hear, because I think historically you guys have had one project, like one house.
Yeah.
Focused on. So
And for the
tell me-
past, I'd say 10 to 12 years, we've been working in Bay City. We had an amazing donation of land there.
Oh, neat.
So we were able to build a lot of homes up there. And so, but now we are actually building in Central Tillamook, rehabbing 2 homes. So kind of from the beginning of that, it's the first time ever that we've been past Bay City. So we are now in Central Tillamook, which is really exciting because what I've seen is that some families won't apply for a Habitat home because they don't want to change school districts. Sure. If they're already established in Tillamook School District,
Totally makes sense.
if they if they get a home in Bay City, their kids would be going to Neoconi, which is a great school too, but it is hard to transition kids.
Yeah.
So I think this has opened up an opportunity for some people who are central Tillamook to be able to apply for a house and really feel like they can set down their roots where their kids are already established.
I love it. It's
really
so
cool.
That's one.
Yeah.
And then what's the other? There's another one.
So we have one home that we're working on. It actually used to be our office that we were housed out
3rd
of
Street?
on 3rd Street.
Okay.
It's across from the Nazarene Church. I was never there, so this was prior to me. But our offices were there, and then we had the Restore. It only made sense to combine the two. So now our office, where I work out of, is in the back of the Restore. We have a office there. We're actually building a community room and a boardroom as well, so that we'll be able to invite groups to come there and be able to really utilize that space. So we had this house sitting there empty. And at first, I think they even tried to sell it, and it didn't sell. And obviously, that's because God had different plans.
Sure.
And so we are rehabbing that. So we are completely, Dan Kuyak is the volunteer contractor on that job. And it's such a God story. And I could use my whole time on that, but I'll let him tell his story sometime. But God's just really using him in a big way.
We'd love to have him.
It's really exciting, and it's really cool. And Kelly Caton and her 2 children are the recipients of this home. So they have already we added up her hours. She has already spent over, I think it's about 110 hours working on the home.
Wow.
So she goes every Friday and Saturday, and throughout the summer, her and her kids were working on the home. She has older kids, so they're able to help.
Oh, okay.
And their hours count towards her sweat equity hours.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's really cool,
really is.
especially as a single mom, because she's working hard at her job, and now she's having to work on a house that's going to be hers. And her story is incredible, and we should get her here because she's got a great testimony, that's for sure. But so we've been working on that house, and then just how it happened. Like it was
Right.
not planned, but we found a house, not like we were looking, but we found a house on Miller Avenue that we actually purchased to rehab. We got a great price on it. So we are currently working on the 3rd Street house. I mean, it was pretty much gutted and putting up new sheetrock pretty soon. So we're working our way
making
through that.
progress.
It's looking good. It looks bad, but you know that that's good
Right.
because you know that you're making progress. So, and then we also bought the house on Miller Street. And it's right across, you look out into the mill. And so it's just a great location right next to the schools, child care center.
Perfect.
I mean, it's just they're actually, our houses are 6 blocks away from each other, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like literally you can walk from one house to the
Yeah.
other. And so that's exciting. We want to see how we can get the community, really the central Tillamook community involved in volunteering on the projects. We've had great groups so far come out. TLC, they came out last, I think we had like 8 or 9 volunteers from TLC employees and a couple of family members that came out and worked on the Miller house. They got so much accomplished. They ripped out, and because it had a kitchen in there, but it was definitely not up to the standards. It needed to go. So they were able to rip that out. They ripped some trees out of the yard. I mean, they were just going painted.
There are a lot of cute little houses in
Yes.
town, and old military, whatever
Yes.
they were, the little cottage things, and they just need a little TLC.
Yep.
So it's so great. So you guys, do you purchase and then fix them up with, and tell me about the sweat equity that you were
Yes, so
speaking of.
sweat equity is where the family is required, depending on if they're a single household or a 2-parent household, will depend on how many hours they do.
Okay.
So sweat equity is just them. We believe that Habitat is a hand up, not a hand out. And so the family that is chosen and selected is going to put hours into not only their home, but other homes. So the hours range anywhere from 200 hours to 500 hours, depending on if we've kind of had to change some policy because, again, this is a new area that we're stepping into we've never done remodels. We've never done rehabs. So how does that look compared to a new build?
Right.
We're hoping that the timeline will be shorter because it is a different scope of work. So we wanted to really reflect the correct amount of hours. That way their house is sitting there ready to go and they're still having to work on their hours. So we're really trying to be aware of that there's going to need to be some changes when it comes to that. But again, the mission is giving back. It's how can you serve? How can you serve on your house? How can you serve alongside the volunteers that are volunteering on your house? It's just an amazing concept. And it's not for everyone. When I meet with families who, come and they apply for a Habitat house, I'm very upfront with them that, this is hard work. This is not a free house. And I think that as much as I want to believe that everyone already knows that, I think people don't. Habitat is not a free home. They have a mortgage just like everybody else. The difference is that it's an affordable mortgage. So we structure the loan to make it so that their monthly payments are not putting them in debt, that their debt to income ratio remains something that is sustainable for them. And so that's kind of the difference, but they are definitely working hard. Not everybody, unless you're literally building your own home, like you are the contractor working on your home. Most people are going to have other people building their homes.
Right.
And they're going to watch and they're going to say, hey, I like this backsplash or things like that. With a Habitat family, they are literally pounding the hammer. I mean, they are dirty. I mean, they are getting down and getting it done.
But they're invested.
They are. They're so invested. And they're invested in the mission. They're invested in what we do, community. So what we'd really like to see is that these homeowners, so Kelly, for example, her then after her house is done, it's not like it just, okay, see you later, Kelly.
Right.
Like we still get to be a part of her life. It will always be a part of the Habitat family. And I know that just knowing her heart and the other hearts of the Habitat families, they want to give back. They want to share their experience. They want to help the next family because the process is long. It's not a quick fix. It's not a snap your fingers and things are done. It's sweat equity. And I think
I don't
that
know
is
who
a
came up with that, but
perfect
I love
word because you do get sweaty.
So now, if somebody is interested in being part of the Habitat family,
Right.
as you say, what is the process?
Yeah. So the first thing is, and historically, I'll talk a little bit about past and then kind of where we're at now. Historically, we would open up the application process. We would announce, okay, we're open and come apply. We really feel that as we accelerate our efforts to build more and just do more and impact more and serve more families and all of those things, we want to keep our application process open. So anytime somebody wants to apply, they can. That's not to say that we still have to do, it's still a process. So there'll be times where we kind of close it for the quarter, but we're still going to always accept applications. And it really is simple to start with. It looks real simple at the beginning. On paper. Yeah, on paper, it's real great. Stop in. So really just come to the Restore. And I call it the Restore because that's what the signs say, but really the Restore is also where our offices are. And Linda Hamilton is my office manager, who's absolutely amazing.
She is amazing.
I love her.
I have met her and been in there a couple times, and she's dynamite.
She is. So she's who you will actually talk to. So if you want to come to the Restore, we're open Monday, closed Tuesdays, and then open Wednesday through Saturday, 9 to 5. And so anytime you want to stop in and grab an application, the application's pretty simple. So you'll grab it, you'll fill it out with your information. Basically, your first question that a family's going to ask themselves is, do we fit within the income requirements? And that's really simple. We have that posted on our website. We have that posted on our Facebook page. We have that in the newspapers periodically. And then Linda will also give you a copy. So if you can see that your income fits within these income requirements, depending on your household size, apply. And you would be surprised. So a little testimony about me is that I was a single mom. And the first time I heard about Habitat for Humanity, I applied for a house. That is how I found out about Habitat. And I walked through the whole process. Application. I met Kathleen was the director at that time. And she was so helpful to me. And I literally made it to the very end. Now that I understand the process, I'm like, whoa, I was like in the running.
Yeah.
And I had a home visit at my house. I mean, I was waiting for the decision. And then how I always explain is God obviously knew he had different plans for me, and that he knew that someday I would marry Justin and that we'd be able to buy our own home, and all of those things are great. But I literally was that person. I had a good job. I had pretty good credit. You know, I mean, I had been pretty consistent in everything in my life.
But it's just sometimes you just need that one little thing.
Never,
it's gonna make a really big difference.
Never would I have been able to put a down payment on a house. Yeah. I mean, that just was not, I had 2 kids. Like, you know, I really was focused on putting my money where it needed to go. And I was paying rent and doing that thing. And it was an opportunity for me to really, and now looking back, how cool that I got to be there, because I literally understand.
It came full circle a little bit for you.
It's pretty awesome.
There you are. And, you know, when I heard about you taking over up there, I just felt like it was such a great fit. And you're so passionate. And you just echo the mission so well. It's just an exciting time for Habitat. I'm really
Thank you.
Great. You know, it's fun for Northwest Senior and Disability Services. Yeah. We've been spending a lot of time together.
We have.
So let's talk a little bit about Nick.
Yes.
First of all, and some of these new programs that are coming down the line.
Yeah. So Nick Watts is just an incredible partner of ours. He's a community paramedic, and his mission, I mean, I don't know what it is on paper, but really his mission from my side is just to be a resource for people in the community, to really keep them out of having to go to the hospital and having to be admitted and all of those things. So he's there just as a person to really support you and to hook people up with services that they need. And that's kind of where this partnership started. My brother-in-law, Josh, they know each other because they work together. And Nick was in need. I think somebody needed a home repair or something was going on. So Nick came into my office, and then I just saw all these lights going off of how... And then I was already talking with you about how Northwest Senior and Disability Services could partner with Habitat. And you guys are the eyes. That's what I believe, is that you and Nick and the other agencies that we work with and the ones that we're going to work with in the future, you guys are the eyes. You work with these families, and
we've got that direct service.
You do. And that's where I come from. I mean, social services is my heart. Like, that's where I've worked my entire life, and in the school district. So I get it that you guys have such an advantage in really being able to be in people's lives. And I think that we have a service. It is. And we have a service we can offer, but what we can't offer as Habitat, because it's not our niche, is that time with the families, you know, that time in the home kind of prior to them becoming involved with Habitat. So to partner with you and to partner with Nick and other people that will continue to partner with, it's that, like I said at the beginning, like, it's that holistic approach. Really not just it's not just housing people need.
Right.
There's so
and
much
a lot
more.
of great. So I'll back up a little
Yeah.
bit for those of you that have not met Nick Watts yet. He is a community paramedic. I don't know what his official title is, but he started with a grant through, I think that the hospital got a grant where for people that were getting consistent rehospitalizations, he could go out into their home, do some safety work, do some follow-ups so that potentially they would not be as at risk. And so that's where that started. And then Northwest Senior and Disability Services, we're in front of a lot of people, whether they're people that require services and things like that, or a little bit different, issues, or, just maybe need some safety things or whatever it is. And so we are in front of people. And then Cami, you were the kind of the cog that we needed, because you brought us all around the table and we started talking about some creative ways for us to get some services that are not necessarily traditional habitat services, but talk about the USDA loan a little bit.
Yeah, so I ran into, it was another executive that works for Habitat, and he told me about this. It's called the USDA Direct Loan Program. It's very confusing, but there's something called a 502 and a 504, and I've learned a whole bunch, and we won't go into that because it would take an hour. But there's just ways that people 65 and over can actually apply for not only loans, 1% interest loans, but also grants. So could potentially qualify for up to $7,500 of free money to help with home repairs. So we are in the process, Stacie and I and Nick, we are in the process of kind of learning more about what this looks like and how we can utilize the funding that's already in place to be able to support families through home repairs, specifically focusing on seniors, people with disabilities, and veterans as well, because I believe that's a population that we haven't been able to serve through Habitat. And I think that I want to do that. I think there's such a need. And if we are here to provide decent and affordable housing for all, then we need to start looking at all.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to mention, this is in the infant stages.
Yes.
We have a couple families that we're working with together.
Kind of a pilot program right now.
We're all like, I find myself holding my breath a little bit, like crossing my fingers with these, 3 or 4 different families that I'm working on the process with. And, but the important part is, they're loans. So they're affordable loans.
Yes.
So sometimes like if there's a senior that they just need to have their heater repaired.
Yes.
So they can get a small 1% loan. Sometimes it's filled out with a little grant money if it's more than based on their income and things like that. But it's got a lot of potential to be a very exciting time.
It does. And the process is really long. So in a plan, we know we're like, yes. But so on the other end of that, there's going to be people that the only way that it's going to happen is if they get this loan. Maybe they have a $20,000 home repair that is just substantial. But then there's other people. We've ran into a lot of people who, and again, this is not promoted. Like, we're not saying like we've opened it up, like come apply, but just through building our partnerships, because the need is so great, people are coming out of the woodworks, and community partners are saying, hey, I have this person that really needs a ramp built. Okay, we want to meet that need. If we can do that, if we can meet these needs, if we can partner with community partners, mills, contractors, to be able to get these things done and affordable for the family, that's what we want to do. So this last month, I've been really excited because I've applied for a lot of grants, some local, some out of state, and out, just all over. And I really am, I have to focus on a lot of different areas with Habitat because we do a lot of different things, but specifically trying to get some funding where if there's some families who literally can't afford home repairs, that we can look at some scholarship funds and things like that.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. So
sometimes, and it saves money in the long run is the important part. So, if I know a senior that she just needs her roof repaired, and if it's not repaired, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
And that, then there's a mold issue, and that, impacts her health, and, it's kind of can be a slippery slope. And then guess what? That person eventually, is sick and needs care. And then there might be a time very soon where there's state funds are paying for, Medicaid funds are paying for her care. Now that's what it's there for. But if we can get in there and find the funds and get her a little loan to pay that she can pay back to get that roof repaired,
exactly,
it can be really a good thing.
So there's the social service side, right there. Now look at the side of the fact that we only have a certain number of homes in Tillamook County.
Right.
And that is our housing market. And with the number of homes that we're building each year, it's not going to sustain how, not just Habitat, but in general, how many homes are being built in Tillamook County. If we're not repairing, rehabbing these homes that we already have in our housing market, eventually those homes will not be here.
Yeah,
and
true.
So social side, that is our heart, is people. Now looking at it from an economic standpoint of our housing market and our housing, what we actually have, they need to be repaired. These homes need to be updated. So where we're at, and we're trucking forward, looking for funding, all of that. We really need, this is my vision. So I envision contractors. They are busy.
Absolutely.
They are busy, and asking, even when we do our brand new homes, like, I can't even comprehend how many hours that is for one contractor to really lead that project. With rehabs, what we do with Habitat and actually turn those into Habitat homes, it's significantly less time than a new build, but still a big commitment.
Sure.
But then we're looking at these projects, for seniors and people with disabilities and veterans, where it could literally be a ramp. That's an afternoon. It could literally be putting up rails. I mean, that's an afternoon. So what I envision is a list. I almost see this like a list of just these contractors that just have a heart of service. And they might not be able to say, yes, I'll build a house for Habitat and commit all this time because I'm working full time also.
But I'll put some rails on that stair so that.
But I will commit. A day every other month. I will commit a day a month. I'll commit a weekend every 6 months. Whatever they want to commit to. I can find them the work. Believe me, I can definitely do that.
Oh, so exciting. I can't stand it.
That's what we need. We need people with their gifts and talents that they can put. We can find the funding. We can find the families that are just so worthy of being able to, and just so needing this. But we need those contractors that will come up. They'll just step up and say, I'll serve.
Sure.
I'll serve.
So, and this is just one of the many things I love about you, being so outside the box. Tell us about your meeting with Connie Green and a potential partnership with TBCC, because that's just one more thing that you're thinking about that I love.
I know. I love it too. And obviously I come from an education family. My dad's a superintendent of the school district and has always been a teacher, and I went into education. It's what I got my degree in. I believe that Habitat has so many opportunities to do what we do. And I will always have to focus on that because that is what we do. But if we can outskirt a little bit and be a little creative, and also how to train our youth and train me, I mean, I need training in a lot of areas too when it comes to building and repairs and all that. People who own homes need to know this stuff. And so my vision was being able to partner with the community college and actually having a class that's specific to being able to work on home repairs and part of the Habitat homes. And there's a lot of interest in just building in general and how to maintain homes, home maintenance.
Well, and you need the life skills.
Definitely.
You can't say that's what I want to do as a career and how I'm going to make my, they need that hands-on, experience.
Yes.
And so what a great way.
Yes. So it'll be a non-credit class, and Jim Cox, who I just love this whole story. So I actually met with Connie Green with, hey, I have this idea. And it was probably the briefest conversation I've had with somebody. And she goes, it actually started with tiny homes. I originally thought that we should have a class that built a tiny home in the 8-week process, or the class. I mean, I'm still thinking that would be amazing too. Well, that's when she directed me to Jim Cox so I went over and met with Jim. We talked for probably 2 hours in his classroom and just got to know each other. And at that point, I'm like, Jim, you need to be on our board. He has so much experience. He was a part of the building homes up at Neoconi. So when those classes, there were multiple years that they actually literally built a home and then sold it. So he has amazing experience and passion, just passion. And so he eventually joined our board and has been such an amazing member of the board. And now he was an adjunct teacher for the college. So this was something he was already doing. And I said, hey, we should do a class like with Habitat and be able to get some of these seniors, people with disabilities and veterans, some repairs on their home, or be able to help serve on the Habitat houses. So we are literally going to start. We just had our meeting with Connie, and it's going to happen. So we'll start, see how it goes, see how many people sign up, and just go from there. But that'll give us that. I can literally say, we have this family. This is their need. Can this be something that you put into the curriculum? Is this an area where you believe people would want to learn? I mean, we have ramps that we need built. I mean, these people need to have, and not only then are they building and learning these skills, but they're serving. Right. And if we can give just that heart of service, that fire under people that it is not about us. Like this is about others and what we can do for others.
I love it. I love it so much. So we just have a couple more minutes here. Let's see. I think the final thing is volunteers.
Yes.
And so you're always looking for volunteers.
Yes. And specifically now that we're working on 2 homes, like our need for volunteers is greater. And we've had groups come in, different banks that have come in with groups, and or an individual can come serve. We really kind of are doing most of our work on Fridays and Saturdays. So I do have dates. We'd like to get a calendar up on our website eventually, and that's something we're working on. But if you have any questions or any inkling of like, I really want to get involved. I don't know what that means, but just reach out.
And volunteers at the Restore as well.
Yes, Restore.
I'm going to plug the Restore
Please
for you
do.
because it's so cute. You guys
Thank
have done
you.
a great job of kind of just merchandising, really. And
that's
you go
the staff.
In there, very, very cute. And there's a lot of great things. And there's also people there that they'll take something that's been donated and refurbish it and turn it into this really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Shabby chic.
Yep. That would be our volunteer, Amanda. She's incredible.
So it's really cool. All these wonderful things that you're doing. I'm going to take a moment here and just make some announcements. So Senior Meals is at 11:30 a.m. at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's also at noon at the Kiwanda Center in Pacific City. The cost is $3 for seniors and $6.75 for other guests. Reminders, I think we're coming to a close on the farmers markets, but I think this is an old little announcement thing that I have, so bear with me a little bit here, but I'll give you some updates on up and coming little events. September 24th is the Trashin' Show. Does that sound familiar? Mm-hmm. Okay, I haven't heard of that one. September 27th, the Women's Resource Center is holding volunteer training starting on the 27th at TBCC. For those interested, they should call the Women's Resource Center and try and support that very important mission. Their phone number is 503-842-9486. September 28th, your project management team and fellow community advisors have been working hard preparing for the 28th Salmonberry Trail Brownsfield Assessment Project Open House. So you can find information about that or contact in the local paper, or feel free to contact Annette Pampush at 503-842-3902. And also a little sneak peek into the future, October 7th, 8th, 14th, and 15th, the TAPA fundraiser, Lulu's Back in Town, a celebration of the Crazy Ladies in popular song, is coming up, and you can call Diamond Art Jewelers or stop by there to purchase $15 tickets. October 8th is the PC Oktoberfest and also the Food Roots anniversary. So anyway, thank you so much, Cami, for coming today. I really appreciate your time and all the wonderful things you're doing for our community.
Thank you.
And be well, Tillamook.
Bringing you another hour of continuous country music favorites. You're listening